that? Oh God, I'm gonna die. I gotta get this on camera. No. Hey everybody, welcome to the Marino Show. I'm your host, David Marino. I'm very excited to have my guest today, Jessica the Nun, right there in full character. Jessica is an entertainer based in San Antonio. We can say entertainer, cosplayer, but we'll get more into that here in a second. But Jessica, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
I have to say, I absolutely love your social media presence. I love watching the different TikToks that you have, and you share those to Instagram as well as the nun, the character. First of all, tell me about what you do as Jessica the Nun and how you got into, taking this character and making her your own.
Well, I want to say 2024, I went to my first ever Comic-Con. I was invited, and I had already seen both nuns, and I love scary. I've always loved Halloween. I've always loved horror, and that became like one of my favorite movies. And then the second one came out 2023, and that one was even more terrifying for me. I love jump scares. So anyway, I decided to be the nun for this Comic-Con because they're like, you can dress as anything you want. And I said, oh, okay, I'll be the nun. So I ended up going, and it was just a big eye opener. I had never been to one, and so that was huge. But just the amount of people that wanted to have pictures with me and take pictures with me, it was just nonstop, all day long. And then even to the night after we went, to dinner, we went to go eat, and people were still wanting photos. The workers there, the waiters, everybody wanted a picture with me. So it was quite an experience. And then last year, I went to um, Fiesta, the last day of Fiesta, and I showed up as the nun, and I kid you not, it was 3 hours of nonstop dancing. Everybody wanted to dance with the nun. And so everywhere I would go, the different little areas, they would start playing. There's a song called La Monja, the nun, and they would start playing it. And so I would start dancing with them. And the next day, my son said, Mom, you could be Jessica the Nun. They had one originally, there's one in Mexico. I guess she dances in the middle of a ride at the fair, and that's how that had started. But he's like, you know what? They thought you were her. So that's why they wanted to dance with you. He's like, but you know what, Mom? You'll just be Jessica the Nun. And I was like, okay, yeah, from San Antonio. And then that's pretty much how it started. My son started doing videos, and he was amazing at editing and everything and doing all that, the magic. And it just blew up. My son was like, wow, Mom, like you're doing really good, for just starting and everything. And it's only been a year thus far, but it's been amazing. Now I do performances. I go to weddings, quinceañeras, birthday parties, college grad parties, and basically what the nun does is just get the party started. I dance. I bring people out to dance. Mainly, it's just an hour of cardio. Really, it's just dancing. But pictures, people love taking pictures, and yeah, it's been quite a ride, and I enjoy it. I love it.
I didn't realize that it had only been about a year, but I love that it's a family affair, that your son is involved and really has, encouraged you to get out there. And obviously it's working because I've seen you, people that I know are interested in what you do. Are you surprised at how popular you've gotten in the San Antonio area just based on the various events that people are requesting you for there?
I am surprised because in the beginning I just thought, okay, it would be TikTok videos, and that's what we aim for. And then people started asking, hey, do you do appearances? So, me and my son brainstormed and we're like, okay, you know what? Let's do this. This is what we'll charge. And I kid you not, last year I had so many performances. For Halloween, I was booked from 8 at night till 2 in the morning. So it just took off from there. And I was surprised. I still get surprised. Like I just went this past Friday night, I went downtown, got invited to a club called Heat, and he wanted to dress up, but he didn't want to go alone. And I'm used to going alone. I'll go anywhere alone, but I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. So I dressed up. We went down there, and there was quite a few people. I would be walking and they'd be like, Jessica. And I would turn, they're like, oh my God, we follow you on TikTok. So that still surprises me because it's like, wow, like I'm actually getting recognized, and it's an amazing feeling. I have a lot of love from the fans, and I think that's really what says it all, is just the love that they show me.
What I also love is that yes, it's the obviously the character, the nun, that's what you're portraying, but you have taken her and made her your own. What was the thought process behind that? And I do love that I see the nun dancing and doing all the fun things, but was that a conscious effort on your part to sort of, yes, be the nun, but also have this own sort of your take on her?
Yeah, that's what in the beginning, what me and my son wanted to create, because my kids, they know how much I love Halloween and how much I love dressing up and dancing. I've always loved dancing. So he was like, Mom, we're not gonna say Valak, because we had to come up with a name, obviously. We're not gonna say Valak or Jessica, like Valak or anything like that to do with Valak, because Valak is she's fierce and she's a demon, and I have that inside of me too. I'm fierce. It takes I think a lot of courage to do this, because in the beginning, it wasn't something. I love Halloween, but that was only once a year. Now I'm doing it almost every weekend. And so I do have that ferociousness of hers, but I do a lot more than just the scaring part. It's really connecting with people. Um, I love to dance, so I go out there, I dance, I'm doing photos, I talk. Valak doesn't talk, and I that's another reason why, I don't know if you noticed, but my teeth, I paint my teeth. People always ask me about my teeth. And that was another decision early on that we made, that no, we're not going to buy a mouthpiece or anything like that that would prevent me from talking to people. So in a way, we were strategizing to make Jessica the Nun her own character, her own person and personality. And so that's why when you see, I tell people all the time, my TikTok, it has different content of all kinds of stuff. I wanted to be Jessica the Nun goes to Dallas football game, Dallas Cowboys. Jessica the Nun went to the Houston Astros. Jessica the Nun's fixing to go to Vegas eventually, hopefully the end of this year. But yeah, so we just wanted to have it, where the content was just all over and it was entertaining, and that's what we were trying to do.
You said something here a little while ago about her being fierce. Is that, aside from your love for horror, is that how you connected with the character? What is it about this character that you just are enthralled with and that you love?
Well, number one, the fact that the movie was itself. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, with Freddy Krueger and all those. So I love all the old school ones. And, I was at a young age, I watched The Exorcist. So those, when a movie can like really move you, like really intensely scare you, to me, that's an amazing movie. And with The Nun and The Nun 2, I was in the theater and somebody was just walking behind me to go and sit, and I got scared and screamed because it felt like it was the nun coming right behind me. So her character, yes, I think she doesn't have to talk. She just appears, and she's scary, you know, in itself. She's, she doesn't have to chase. She doesn't have to, you don't really have to even see her kill somebody. You just know she did. So I really I got to meet Bonnie Aarons last year at Big Texas, and or yeah, Big Texas Terror, and she was just amazing. That for me was a moment. And she saw me in character. She thought it was so amazing. She wanted a picture of me. And I'm like, here I am in line to meet this lady, to have her sign my stuff. And she wanted a picture of me. So I thought that was just super amazing. She's super sweetheart. And so, yeah, I had my awe moment when I met her. And, that until I haven't yet to see another scary movie that scares me the way the nun did. So yeah, I think she's like the biggest, baddest, scary person out there.
I love that too. And I also grew up in the 80s watching all the slasher flicks, Friday the
Mhm.
13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, um, all of those films that I love even to this day. And I think about the horror world that sometimes, well, people who are not into horror don't really understand sometimes the connection to these different characters because they just see the scary, or they see just the killings or whatever. But even like throughout the 80s and the slasher flicks, the Final Girl, or whatever, there's always a strength related to whoever character you're looking at. And I think
Mhm.
there's so much more to horror than just a jump scare. Or like, these films are very important to those of us in the community that love these, watching scary movies.
Yes.
um how have you how have you felt, just sort of, you've always loved horror, but now kind of seeing all the other fans in portraying the nun, Jessica the nun,
Mhm.
how has that love sort of been reciprocated to you?
Oh, it's been amazing. I didn't until I started doing this, I didn't realize how big the horror community is. It was an eye opener, when I started seeing, oh, there's these events at the malls. There's 3 malls here that are always having, events, and just people that came in and were like, "Hey, you want to do this, you want to be part of this." And it was very, very welcoming. I have yet to have a negative experience when it comes to the nun. Even with children, when I show up at these, a quinceañera or a wedding, and they'll take off. I have some videos where they take off screaming, but then later on they're there dancing with me. They can't get enough of the nun. They're just following me around like little ducklings. They're so intrigued. And that's what I want. Is I don't want kids to, have a fear of us, because number one, it's cosplay. We're not real. um, but I want them to know that we're there. Me personally, I'm there to have fun with them. I'm there to dance with them. Even when I go to the events, and I'll have all the time, I have a little, a bucket of candies, because, there'll be a little kid and they'll be like looking terrified, like, no, 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 they don't want to come by me. As I'll grab a lollipop and I'll do this, and they'll just look at me and they'll take the candy. And it's just so cute, because they're like, okay, you can get over your fears. And there's nothing to fear. Really, honestly, there's nothing, because once they start talking to me, they're like, "Oh my god, you're so cool." And that's what I love about it.
Now, Halloween is also my favorite day and time of the year. October, just the whole month is awesome. You said that you were literally booked last year from like 8 to 2. What types of events are they booking you for on Halloween? Is it various parties? Is it clubs? Or is it kind of a combination of all of those things?
For Halloween, it was all house parties. People that were having haunts or doing their own haunted, or handing out candy. That's what they wanted. They wanted me to show up. And usually people get me for about an hour. The same with the quinceañeras and the weddings. They usually book me for an hour. So mostly it was just, going around handing out candy, scaring people. They're like, "Hey, can look, here comes some people." And everybody that was coming and showing up for candy, they thought it was just amazing. And again, they want pictures. So a lot of the times I'm doing, photo ops for people, and they're just loving it. And I've went to a couple of parties, but there's one party that, I mean, they just go above and beyond. I'm fixing to probably post their video again, because, for us, Halloween is around the corner and we can't wait. And he decks out his place. I was amazed. I was just like, wow, this is insane. This is the best house decorations I've ever seen. And he lives next to his parents, so they decorate both properties. So it was really amazing. But yeah, I was there at his party, and like I said, from 8 to 2 a.m. it was house parties. So I was just jumping and jumping to the next and jumping to the next.
So this is taken off for you, I imagine, like on the business side of it, right? Because like I said, you're getting booked, which is great. You're able to make a living off of it. So has this become more of like your full-time gig, or do you have like, is this a side gig? Like I love seeing people that, especially small business, like that are able to take what they do as a small business. And because yes, it is great that you're out there doing this and entertaining, but at the same time, we all have to make a living. And I love that you're able to take something that you love to do and make that into like a small business for yourself and your family. So tell me a little about that.
Well, I always tell people, I tell my family, I said, isn't it so crazy that I feel like I'm so blessed because I get to dance, I get to dress up, and I get to socialize and have fun with people, and I'm getting paid to do it. And I mean, who like most people are at their jobs and they're miserable. They don't even want to be there. You know what I mean? So I do have a full time job. So I work Tuesday through Friday full time, my 40 hours, but it allows me my schedule to be Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. So I'm off those 3 days. So if I get booked, I have the weekend free because I don't have to worry about work. So yeah, this is to me, I see it as a business. I've been, including more and more things in my performances. Now I have a shot cart, which I used the first time at a college graduation party not too long ago. I include photo backdrops. I have 2 photo backdrops that I can set up if they want to include that, in the pricing. So yeah, little by little, I'm investing in this business because it's taken off so well. I mean, just in May alone, I had 4 performances, 4 weekends of performances, and and that's really good for it being May and people hiring me to look like this for their parties. I mean, it's just awesome. So I can imagine October, this October, I actually already have a wedding booked in Del Rio, Texas for October 10th. And then I have a quinceañera booked already. She booked in February, and that's for October 24th. So I already have 2 bookings for October. And that's, I'm pretty sure October is going to be busy. Halloween, everybody knows, is on Saturday. So yeah, it's just amazing. I love it, and I am grateful and I'm thankful and I'm so blessed to be able to do what I love to do on the weekends and get paid for it. I think that's just pretty awesome.
And the fact that it's a wedding, that one of your events is a wedding, absolutely love that. My friends got married last year in October, and they had more, like a horror themed wedding at,
Wow.
they did like at the cemetery, that not the wedding at the cemetery, but there was like a whole thing staying at this inn that was haunted. And so I love,
That's so cool. You know what? If I had been ordained last year, they could have hired me to marry them. So that's another thing that I included in my business. I have my what's it called? Like my ordained title
uh-huh.
and card and everything. So now the nun can marry people. So I'm waiting to do my first one. That'll be so cool. I'm excited to do that. So yeah, I can actually marry people.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I bet once that gets more traction and gets
Yeah.
out there, wow, that's great.
And I know people like you and me and tons of people that love the horror and it's just part of their lives and their livelihood. I know somebody's going to get married in October and be like, "Oh my God, we got to get the nun to marry us." I know it's going to happen. You watch it; it'll happen.
I'm from San Antonio. I live in Austin now, but San Antonio, the horror market there is huge. It's,
It is.
Austin, I would have thought Austin would have been more of that, but it's really not the way San Antonio is. I mean, every weekend we have a
Yeah.
mutual friend, Israel Rico, who also has a small business and he does his paintings and everything that are a
Yes.
lot of them.
As a matter of fact, he did this one for me, which is so awesome.
Oh,
Spurs.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. I have some on my wall now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a variety of things, but he also focuses a lot in the horror genre. But you know, I just think that it's so cool that you're able to do this and to be able to bring it to so many people like that. So I absolutely love it. And yeah, being in the horror world or loving horror, people don't always understand it. But what was it for you growing up that drew you to these films?
I think I remember clearly, I remember watching The Exorcist. I think I was about like 6 or 7 years old. And I think it's just the feeling, like the feeling, I think is what I got hooked on, because after that I wanted to see, as a young teenager, I wanted to see all these scary movies, and I just loved it. But I love the fear factor. That's what it is. It's a fear factor. You get kind of where you're waiting, you're anticipating. That's the kind of thing that drew me to Halloween. And even my kids growing up, it's so funny because they remember. I remember one year my son, he wanted to be a Power Ranger, and I told him, Mijo, there's gonna be 15 Power Rangers. I said, do you want to win the contest? He's like, yeah, mom, I want to win. I said, then you know what? We'll make you a scary Dracula. How about that? So I did, and he went, and I said, okay, now when you're going around, mind you, he was little, 4 or 5 years old. And as I said, when you go around, go like this, like that, like to the crowd. I said, because they're gonna love it. Okay, mom. And there he goes. And he won, because scary people need to get back to, I think, the scary part. And that's what, again, as a young child, that's what I loved, was the fear factor of like the holding your stomach, and you're like, oh, it's coming, and I loved it. And then when I started taking my kids to scary movies, it's so funny because they had a habit, they cover their ears. They always cover their ears, which I thought was funny. But now they grew up loving, horror, and love to dress up every year. I've been dressing up every year probably for the past 40 years. I don't know. But every year I wouldn't miss a Halloween, because that's the one day of the year that you can be anybody or anything that you want to be. And as a kid growing up, if you've grown up in hard times or dysfunctional times, that was the one day that you could just be whatever, and you get candy. So I've always loved it. My kids grew up loving it. And now now, like I said, I feel like I am so blessed that I can give back, I can entertain, I can yeah, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I do scare people. Just the mere me walking into QT to go get a drink, and somebody sees me, they get scared. So I have a lot of scare videos. So yeah, it's fun all around.
Where do you hope to take what you're doing next? I know that it's only been a year and you've already been doing so many events. I mean, it appears that you've taken off pretty quickly in terms of getting these various events and parties and what have you.
Yeah.
What do you see this sort of evolving into, or what would you like to see, if there is anything more you want to see, or just continue doing what you're doing? Do you have any other sort of goals with this, as like an entertainer? I would say
Yeah.
is more the question. As an entertainer, what would you like to do next? Is there something really big that you'd love to be a part of?
Oh man, if I could have my wish today, it would be to be at one of the games of the Spurs, because that's one thing I did miss out on. Like I said, I love the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys, and I meant to go to a Spurs game, and then they just been doing awesome. The tickets went up, and so I didn't get to make it. Some other nuns did, which was awesome. Yeah. But future wise, in the beginning, my whole focus was like, "Oh, I wanna be TikTok famous." That was what I was thinking was gonna happen. But as I got to grow and get more and more fans and see their comments and go to places and just feel the love from the people, really it became about the people. I feel like I'm famous already. If somebody recognizes me downtown and they say they follow me, that to me makes me famous. You know, um, so future wise, if I could do this, full time, oh, I would love to do this full time and not, not do my day job. Um, uh, One of the biggest things I would love to do is be able to go, to Vegas and walk around, and just to see people's reactions and stuff, get photos maybe, because I know they do a lot of characters out there. One of my big things that I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to do it this year, I'll be going to Salem at the end of the year. And that's always been like, to me, that was like Halloween town. That was like, it didn't really exist to me when I was younger. Like, that can't be real. And usually every year I take a cruise. But this year I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Salem. And I'm going to dress as the nun for at least one of the days and walk around and do videos and stuff. So that I'm looking really forward to. So future wise, I think if I could keep doing this for another 10 years, I'll be happy.
What events do you have coming up?
Oh gosh. So one of the events, there's an event that I'm going to, I'm not a part of, but I'm going to because it's going to be so cool. And of course, I have Annabelle doll and I have the demon doll. And I don't know if you guys have seen the little demon doll in the red little onesie, but they're going to have Dolls of Horror. And that's going to be June 14th at the Wonderlands Mall. And it's on a Sunday. So I'm definitely going to show up. So if anybody wants to show up for photos, and I'm going to have, my dolls to take with me. Um, June 27th, which is a Saturday, Spooky Mart is having an event. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm part of the Creepy Clown Society. And my good friend, yeah, my good friend Jesse, he cosplays. He does a lot of cosplay, but he cosplays as Captain Cutter, Captain Spaulding of the movie. And anyway, so I've been friends with him this past year, and he included me in the Creepy Clown Society. So we're going to do Spooky Mart, which is located on Culebra. And apparently, I haven't been there, but apparently they have different rooms, different themes. And this will be something that will most likely like only go if you want to get scared. Like, it's kind of going to be like it's a store, but it's kind of going to be like a little haunt too kind of thing. So that's going to be June 27th. So Joel from Retro City, who hosts a bunch of events, and he's become a really good friend of mine too this past year. He is hosting July 11th. It's going to be Cosplayers Ball, and that's going to be just dedicated to cosplayers. I'm going to be at Reaper's Fest, and that's going to be for both days, July 25th, 26th. I will be there as a vendor. I'll have my photo ops. It's going to be at the Rolling Oaks Mall, so I'll be there for both days. So that's pretty much so far that I have in June and July, other than, performances and quinceañeras and all kinds of good stuff.